it's usually some kind of a device or some kind of a program that is built. When I say program, not a software program, but a set of actions that is built around a breakthrough, whether it's a photonic chip, a novel approach to neuromodulation, which helps people with all the different type of neurocognitive diseases, or, for example, a novel modular nuclear reactor. So whatever it is, it will be science and tech related stuff, way more than traditional IT investment.
All right, this is another episode of the Founders Pack Wolfcast. I'm getting used to saying that, but I think it's a great name that was chosen by all of our members. My
It's an
guest
awesome
today,
name.
yeah, it's kind of awesome, right? And it encompasses a newsletter and a podcast. So I don't have to keep explaining that they're one. Well, my guest today is Arkady Kulik from RPV, and he is an investor
Hey.
in Deeptech. Arkady, thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you for the invitation, Mike. It's an honor, man. Happy to spill some beans on the Deeptech VCing.
Well, so maybe that's a good place to start. I guess first off, for people that don't know, who is Arkady and what is RPV?
Sure. So I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I've been building niche businesses in artist management, talent management, in music distribution, in IT, in SaaS, all the usual suspects for a millennial kind of person. And deep tech is an area of venture capital investment that deals with the hard problems. Usually it's hardware related startups. Usually they have some kind of a technical or scientific breakthrough that is underlying the whole product. It's not just another app that is published in all the proper medias and then is, all the network effects and the traditional usual suspects in IT investment. It's usually some kind of a device or some kind of a program that is built. When I say program, not a software program, but a set of actions that is built around a breakthrough, whether it's a photonic chip, a novel approach to neuromodulation, which helps people with all the different type of neurocognitive diseases, or, for example, a novel modular nuclear reactor. So whatever it is, it will be science and tech related stuff, way more than traditional IT investment. So I'm taking this entrepreneurship background and history and I'm bringing it to the world of VC.
So you approached entrepreneurial ventures as a technical founder?
Yes, I mean, my own ventures, I've always was I was always the CEO. I was always the business founder,
Oh, okay.
and less so technical founder. The same is in my fund. Sure, I've got masters in science, but my co-founder, he's a PhD in science, tenured professor, certain affiliate, all of that stuff. So I'm business guy. He's the science guy.
Got it. Okay. What was exciting to you about deep tech? Because it doesn't necessarily sound like your ventures themselves were deep tech. Is that right?
No, not at all. And it was actually one of the one of the major things for me. At some point I've realized that my passion for science and technology does not necessarily manifest itself through whatever I do. So when I was 18 and I've launched my talent management agency, sure, I had no idea about technology and science and all of this stuff. I was still studying physics, right? So it had nothing in common. Then when I moved to IT, it was kind of closer to the technology. And the more I did in IT, at the time, the industry also commoditized a lot. And now with ChatGPT, I don't think that IT is a technology anymore. It's a distribution business. It's less so can we build it, it's more can we sell it. My heart, however, was always in the domain of can we invent a teleportation device? Can we invent a helmet that will, yeah, I mean, look at all your travels, Mike. How much time would I have saved you if I had one? Um, or can we create some kind of magical helmet that will heal all the mental disease or maybe even dementia if we're lucky? So uh, the, the whole the whole idea of technology and science, in my opinion, is about making our lives better. And if I can be a part of this whole movement that pushes our life to do the next level, I'm happy to be there. I'm happy to have participated in any form or shape. It just so happened that VC in this specific niche with my specific background and connections in the world of science is the largest scale impact that I can deliver by doing something in the next chapter of my life. So that's how I consciously decided on VC.
I love it. Totally makes sense. So your path to VC, was there a stepping stone, or did you just go right in and build a fund?
Just went right in and built a fund. To me, it's just another venture, right? So when everybody's saying that VCs are investing in founders, well, look, for the first time managers, we're the same founders. It just so happens to be a financial startup. Every single VC comes to that, every single first time VC comes to that with an idea on how to build or fix or change something in the industry, because we all inherently think it's broken. Otherwise, we probably would have never done anything in it. Sequoias and A16Z would be great without any additional help. They actually probably would be great in any case. But the thing is, we as new founders, we try to disrupt the industry, bring something new. So I still think it's just the continuation of my entrepreneurial path. That's how I feel.
So first of all, have you invested in nuclear?
Not yet. All the small modular nuclear reactors, they're way too late for us. They're usually raising at hundreds of millions, if not billions, valuations. We are a pre-seed firm, right? So we want to come in much earlier than that. So we've looked at a lot of fusion companies. We had some very deep due diligence with those. We have not found the one that was fully convincing yet. There are some good contenders. Maybe in a year or two, there will be the first fusion companies from our portfolio. There are some good big players. Let's see how it all unfolds. It's a really interesting industry.
I was going to say that's a very interesting industry, the fusion part. Like, because I think growing up, I remember in high school doing, an independent project on cold fusion, and it just seemed like, oh, this is just too hard. That seemed to be the attitude. It's like, this is too hard. But I feel like that nothing's too hard anymore. It feels like everything's possible. Is that?
I also feel like that. I also feel that everything is possible, and that just applying all the talent in this very concentrated, driven by internet, obviously concentrated effort, we can fix pretty much any problems we have. Some problems are harder than others. So I would say climate has so many different phases. Technology alone will not solve climate. You need policy changes, you need behavioral changes, you need so many things to go in a different way. And I'm not talking about you splitting trash into recyclables, compost, and
That's
trash, right?
ridiculous.
I'm talking about large, especially Asian governments who keep on burning coal. And I'm talking about pretty much every Asian country, Russia, China, name it, they keep on burning coal.
Sure.
They will keep on burning coal because it makes a lot of sense. They've got all the factories ready. They've got an endless supply if you want. So it will take so many different aspects of our society to work together that climate alone would not be solved by technology. But neuroscience can be the place where technology alone will solve a lot of problems. For sure. There are other fields, but neuroscience seems to be a good example of this magic pill in the form of a device.
One of our friends is the founder of Muse, which I don't know if you've seen that, which is it's like a brain sensing headband.
Oh, I have never seen that. Of course,
Oh, you haven't?
I didn't buy like 10 or
All of
15 of
them.
those to
Oh,
my
okay. Yeah,
friends,
there you go.
and I don't use this every
Oh,
day,
yeah. So
right?
that's okay. So this is Ariel Garden's company, and she's Canadian. She's in Toronto.
Yes.
And her mom actually is a very talented artist in New York, which is really interesting. But yeah, I remember asking her on my prior podcast, Automate and Grow, because we were talking about computer brain interfaces, and she studied under Dr. Stephen Mann, who has like the eye tracking and the stuff
Yeah.
that's in Google Glass and all these other, heads up displays. And I was kind of like, well, couldn't you do, actually goes, oh, we would never do that. Because the X was, couldn't you solve all these other problems? Couldn't you control these other things with an implant or something that's not external? And she's like, oh, we would never do that. So she has like a moral barrier, but I don't think everybody else does. I think there's a lot of computer brain stuff that's really interesting. It's scary.
You're touching on a very important point because the more we advance this technology, the more ethical questions would pop up. One of our portfolio companies, they've created a device that if you want to, can be used to stimulate all of your pleasure centers simultaneously. It's like eating the best food at the best location with the best company around you. like all of that just to
Boom.
100% to the max. Which somebody can build and advocate the fact that it's a perfect junkie device, and that's a problem. That's an
That,
ethical, societal boundary. Uh, the same device could be used to stimulate pain centers or fear centers, and you can imagine a perfect torture device. So before we even made the investment, we had this very long walk with one of the founders, and I was like, "How are you going to live with yourself, knowing that you brought this to the world?" I'm not even talking about you can defend your company as much as you want. If it's a great success, somebody sooner or later will reverse engineer it and use it
totally.
against you. In the same way as Oppenheimer and Einstein were both of them were really, really unhappy with how their inventions were used. Uh, I had the same question, and the founder gave me a valid answer to that, and we've decided to invest. So yeah, the more technology advances, the more ethical problems we're going to see, for sure.
I don't know if politics are the way to solve that. Or regulation. I don't know.
I only can pray and hope that moral compass of those people would be as strong as the founders of News.
Oh, it'd be the worst. Yeah. There'd be some DARPA stuff in there. All right. So
Probably.
if you had, it's just too tempting and powerful, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
just slide this little thing on there. Yeah, it's interesting. It definitely raises a lot of moral dilemmas for sure, and real worry. I mean, there's all. I mean, what do you think of all of the discussion around, hey, stop, slow down AI, slow down AI. This is a risk to humanity because this is part of that, right? Like that sort of discussion. Like there's an ethical
definitely.
issue, and it's beyond a slippery slope.
The thing that in my books comes the closest, and by the way, right, I'm not a policymaker. I have no training in government and all of
Sure,
these things.
nobody
So
does.
whatever I say is some people have diplomas. But the thing that I can say here is that the best thing I can imagine we do is some kind of a non-governmental, above all governments, ministry. I think something along the same lines was proposed by Sam Altman
Was it?
recently. I think so. And do some kind of an agency that is comprised of the best scientists, the best entrepreneurs, the best people who are subject matter experts, not some kind of policy makers, and also make sure that we incentivize that ministry or that whatever agency uh, in a way that it only works if everybody benefits. It's a very difficult thing to do. I believe Kim Stanley Robinson tried to take a stab on that in the Ministry for the Future book. That's a ministry about the climate change and how we all, as a planet, should regulate the climate change. We probably could do the same for AI and neurotech. The question is, how do we make sure that these agencies are immune to all the different
People
uh,
influence it. Its bias is, people are not going
not
to.
just that, temptations? How are they immune to all the temptations that
Yeah.
big industries or DARPA or other agencies, three-lettered agencies, will start bringing their way? And like, hey, look, it's all great, but just let's add a few more subsections into this clause, and maybe over time, in like 10, 15 years, it becomes completely useless agency that doesn't really regulate anything. That's a big
Well,
question.
I think in the end it can't be human. I do not think that a human can regulate any of this without that being a disaster. So I guess the thing in my head is, and I've been thinking about an outline of something called the end of politics, and I think it's in the end it's an AI that polices the other AI, and there has to be
Could
check in.
be.
There has to be something that supersedes all this, and there's standards for anonymized identity and protections because it has to see how is this AI affecting these users and getting that feedback and then setting the rules like whether it's the Asimov 3 robot rule whatever, right? That cannot be left up to people in desks and clipboards, which is what
And
government is.
yes, and also these people might have the agendas that are very short-term lived, not
Totally
necessarily bad, just very
regressive,
short-term lived, like 4
100%
years,
regressive.
10 years. Yes, and they don't care about even 20 years perspective, let alone 200 years
No,
perspective.
the bureaucracy is
So
a race to the bottom, and these are going in opposite directions. You cannot do that with bureaucracy, in my opinion.
I like your approach. We should talk more about that. How do we build an AI that regulates other AIs?
I think that's very important, and I think it could be an interesting opportunity.
To make our faces a little less serious, that sounds almost like a plot of a Pink and Brain cartoon.
I
How do we
mean,
take over the world? Let's
it
build an AI
depends,
that
like
policies other AIs.
if they all opt in, right? The original idea behind OpenAI was that that's what that was. That was a
Yes.
clearinghouse, right? And that's what we need is we need a central authority clearinghouse that is AI. It's not human, and it should not be influenced by policy or politics.
Who sets an agenda for this AI becomes the big question, really.
The industry of anyone making AI has to, and then it becomes trust, which is, well, I'm not going to use an AI or buy an AI that's not going through this. Yeah, that's kind of my
So
thought.
good.
There has to be, it's similar to like when you watch a movie like I, Robot, and it has Vicky and it's policing all the, robots that are out there, which are effectively the embodiment of AI. You need a Vicky that manages everything, and you have to prepare for the way Vicky's creator did. Well, wait, this went beyond and tried to, create the nanny state. We don't want that. My
Well,
life.
some of us do, but not all of
Want the
us.
nanny state. Yeah, politicians want the nanny state. I just want
So
access to
easy to
your bank account, and 60% of your income should come to me.
60? 60 is not enough.
Not
Let's push it
enough.
to 80.
90, like the good
Yeah.
old days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the whole new feudalism inspired by AI might be a big thing, but again, we live on this whole the library of dystopias and utopias that all look at a different way at the same problem and the same question. So I think if we could have found an answer that satisfies everybody, we would already have had it, but we don't yet. And I think your idea of training an AI that would just make sure that other AIs don't harm people, um, again, the whole question like what a harm is, and is it okay to harm 10 people to save 10 million people?
No,
Uh, yeah,
maybe.
okay. What if?
Buy,
Yes. So
buy
in all
an
these
AI.
gray areas,
Buy an AI.
what if these 10 people are like, I don't know, A, B, C, D, E, repeat offenders, killers and murderers? Can we give them up to save 10 million monks? Uh, I mean,
So now
who knows? Maybe
we're talking about social credit score by
exactly.
AI. That's
We're,
what
we're talking about
no.
even
It's
worse. We're
its
talking
job
about
is to make sure that the AI you're right, because in the end the outcome is people, right? You're right, which is the AI harming people?
even worse. The outcome, the only outcome uh, we should be fine-tuning the system for is happiness of people. And happiness of people is such a fleeting moment.
I think that's
It's
nonsense.
like, well, you definitely have felt happy at least a couple of times in your life,
It's
for
like
sure.
25% of your life is happy.
Good for you if it's 25. For somebody else, it's
That's
15. For
high.
somebody, it's 10. For somebody, it's like 50%. For somebody, it's like 80%.
Really?
They're so
Show me
delusional. They're so
somebody show me
delusional.
an 80. Striving. But see, I think that's what the myth is. We have industries that are predicating their
Yes.
predators based upon this lie of happiness. It's all
Yes.
nonsense because the truth is unhappiness drives change. And if you look at, I've been reading Sapiens as part of research for Form Your Own Pack, because one of the early people that read Form Your Own Pack was like, what you're saying here is in Sapiens. I'm like, okay, so I read it, which is evolution doesn't occur
Beautiful.
without trauma.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Fantastic
It's
book.
a beautiful book in so many ways. So I wish I had read it so much sooner, but now I have. So
Have you? It was also this kind of interesting dialogue between an architect and Neo in one of the matrices, where he was like, the first matrix that we created was like pure bliss, a heavenly garden. Everybody was happy, and there was nothing was going on. And then like
it
we
cracked.
realized that
Wake
we,
up.
we need like 90s because like people need some drama. Some people actually strive in that. So it's a big question. How do we optimize the
Everybody
system
does.
towards, yeah, how do
Yeah.
we optimize the system for this just ideal mix for each individual at the specific point of time? Just a few days before you go off for your long awaited vacation, you need as less drama as possible. A few days after you came back from that, you're like, yeah, bring it on. Well, let's
So
get some
many
stuff
challenges I didn't
pumping.
solve.
Exactly. So
I'm
it
the
depends so much on your health, on your how rested you are, etc. But I love the idea of AI governing other AIs. We should talk more about that.
I believe that happiness is nonsense, and I believe that feelings are nonsense, but missions are important. And
I think
that's
you're onto
that's
something
where
with that,
that's where
man.
I think this, we have an entire society that is sick because it doesn't operate within a mission framework. It operates within a feeling and my reality framework. And AI will just amplify that worse than social media did. And it has
Much
really,
worse.
it's run by AI.
It already has, and it's only going to make more disruption there, from personalized ads that are
Worse.
basically built on the fly for you right now to many other things that we don't even know how it's going to turn out. So let's see how it all plays
Matrix.
out. Matrix, maybe.
This is the Matrix.
You want to talk another half an hour about Vision Pro?
No, we shouldn't. All right. So I want to be respectful of your time because I know you and I please come back anytime. I'm happy to do this once a month if you want. You tell me.
Oh yeah, sure,
Um,
sure.
yeah.
I've got lots of
Um,
stuff to share.
all right. So if you could offer other like founders, because you are a founder, but also an investor, only one piece of advice, what would that be?
In general, to entrepreneurs, yeah,
Yeah.
there is this one that's called "Don't Die."
Okay.
Uh, just keep on going for your target. Don't be stubborn in how you achieve your target. Just keep the same target and try different alleys, try different ways. Resilience is the key in entrepreneurship. Nothing beats resilience.
I love it. And I probably needed that today.
Good luck, man.
I was like, God damn it. But it's funny when I asked that consistently through, call it 100 plus episodes of this, and there's some variation of that, and I would say majority of the response, which is don't quit, stick it out, find another way. So that is amazing advice, and I think you can't be heard enough because there's a trick that we all play as founders where there's a wall, and it's like Dan Sullivan talks about. I don't know if you've read Dan Sullivan. And I was reading this. It's called The Gap and the Gain. It's like stop
Mhm.
measuring yourself against the standard in the future. Look where you've come from. Essentially,
Oh, that's an advice for me today. Thank you, Mike.
absolutely. I'm happy to send you the book.
Please do.
All right,
Yeah,
what
let's talk in July. Sure.
for sure? Yeah, we'll schedule more time. I'm happy to do that.
You had
Um,
a question?
I did. Yeah. So, what has the role of partnerships and/or community been in your success?
I think cooperation is the only way, honestly. Sure, there could be some healthy competition, whether we play chess or do a business transaction, doesn't really matter, but cooperation is the key. Nobody came where they are alone. Even the best, I don't know, runners, professional runners, they still have a team. They have coaches, masseurs, and all the other people who help them with the diet, etc. So we all have a whole team behind our backs that help us, whether it's partners or friends or family, sometimes in a very subtle ways that we would recognize many years later. Um, Make sure that your community is properly curated and make sure that the people that you care for have healthy relationship with you. Put some work in it. It's extremely important. I would say number two after resilience in your success as a human being, not just as an entrepreneur. Make sure that people around you are who you like and who you want to be more alike.
I love it. And that's consistent with our theme where we encourage people to form your own pack. So we talk specifically about that, which is why I asked. So I appreciate you elaborating on that. How did you find your first investor?
For this firm, or just in general? For
Your
this
call.
firm, I was talking to one of my professors from my school, and he introduced me to a gentleman named Sergey Nedesin, and he was the first one to go in. He's a senior vice dean at Wharton, and honestly, it gave us a lot of confidence that level of stature joined us very early on.
Amazing. All right. What is the best
Community,
way? Well, I'm sorry.
community. It
Community.
was short
Right.
answer. Community.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes total sense. Um, all right. Well, I want to be respectful of your time. We've probably gone over here, but
it's all good, man.
What is the best way for people to get in touch with you, and who do you typically like to talk to? What is a good connection for you?
LinkedIn is the best way for sure. Entrepreneurs, scientists, other VCs, LPs, any people who have something to deal with deep tech entrepreneurship, whether directly or non-directly, happy to meet them, happy to talk to them.
Amazing. All right. The final thing is, and thank you for your time today. I always appreciate it. And I look forward to connecting with you again in a month. I'll take you up on that. We'll schedule some more time.
Let's do that. Sure.
The final thing is typically we like to have interesting people on the podcast who are founders or investors in scalable ventures. And then we also ask them to nominate another similar founder or investor. Who would you, Arkady, like to nominate as a future guest of the Wolfcast?
Jay Malik from Countdown Capital, for sure. An amazing individual, really smart. I would really advise you to talk to Jay. If you want, I'll send an intro later today.
Amazing. We will accept that introduction. Thank you so much, Jay. We look forward to having you on as a future guest. Thank you so much, Arkady, as usual. And I look forward to talking to you in the future and following your journey.
Thank you, Mike. Happy seeing you today. Talk to you soon. Bye.